What's going on, everyone? UFC 303 has just wrapped up. Pereira gets the knockout against Jiri Prochazka at the start of the second round. I'm going to go over the full card, my predictions, my bets, and just my overall thoughts and opinions of the card. This week, our bets and predictions killed it again. That's 2 weeks in a row that both our safety parlays are hit. So we got our safety parlay that hit last week, and I gave you 2 for UFC 303, and both hit. You could see that the Pyfer money line was clear as day. I had him in both my parlays, and he just destroyed Barrel in like the first couple of minutes. Here's my lock of the card. I said he just covered Barrel everywhere, and that Pyfer's last fight didn't determine him as a whole. The Lopes vs Ortega fight doesn't go to decision, got scrapped, so we had to skip that. And then all we had left for the first parlay was Alex and Jiri not to go the distance, and that ended at the very start of the second round, so really no sweat for that one there. Then for number 2, we had Pyfer moneyline, and the only thing that we had that was different was we had Tsuruya to get 1 takedown in round 1, which hit almost immediately, so that parlay hit quite cleanly as well. It's a shame that we didn't get to see the Lopes versus Ortega fight, because I feel like that fight doesn't go the distance would have hit quite clearly, especially if Ortega was coming in injured or sick or whatever it was. But still, we'll take both safety parlays hitting. So that's 3 out of 3 for the past 2 weeks. And our predictions killed it again. 8 out of 11 brings our total for the year to 64%, which is just right up there with all the top cappers, which is great for a small channel like mine. I'm pretty proud of that. And yeah, 8 out of 11. Picked a few underdogs in there as well, and very happy with that one. Then for the straights and props, Oliveira vs Simon not to go the distance didn't hit. So I guess it wasn't really close. Like, Simon never got wobbled, and he never got Oliveira onto the floor in the dominant position, so it never really hit. That was more on Simon just not having the right game plan, but we'll talk about that in the next slide. Talbott, round 2 and 3, knocks him out with the first punch. Can't do much about that. It's his first ever finish in the first round, and he even said himself that he wanted to continue the fight and hoped that Ghemmouri could stand up and continue, because he wanted to fight a bit longer, because he just doesn't really finish fights in the first round. He's a fighter at heart, and he likes to drag it out a little longer, but props to him, gets that clean flush KO in the first. Pyfer KO sub. Like the safety parlays, I had a lot of things riding on Pyfer this week, and I said that he just had Barrier covered everywhere, and I think he's going to finish Barrier, and what did he do? He finished him within the first couple of minutes, so I got that at nice plus money. Very happy with that one. And then the Smith and Dolidze fight starts round 3, minus 133, bargain of a price tag. It went the distance, which probably was plus money, and yeah, I mean, it was just never really close to finishing. Dolidze got that flurry in the second round, but you know, nothing too incredible. Smith was kind of defending the whole time. That was a rubbish fight, but we'll get to that. And then the nibbles, man, seriously, every single one of these besides the last one could have hit. Oliveira KO was there all fight. I mean, like I said, Simon disengaged in the wrestling. He just didn't go to his game plan, and Oliveira was hitting him some real nice flush shots, and just couldn't get it. Hernandez points. Guys, I told you, Tsuruya is not who we think or who people thought he was. He's not as good as Tatsuro Taira. And Hernandez clearly won round 3 because Ray gassed like he did in the Clamaco fight. And, you know, Hernandez potentially could have gotten the round 1. You never know. On a different day, he might have gotten that favorable decision there. But, you know, plus 800, huge money for what was a very close fight. Then the Garry sub, plus 1,000. I don't know how MVP got out of that rear naked choke in the first round. Garry should be ashamed of himself for not finishing that, because that's under the chin, back mount, body triangle in. All he had to do was tuck his hand behind his head and finish it and squeeze. But man, props to MVP. Garry, at least we captured where he would go to. I said he would probably wrestle because he is a smart fighter and he wants to win fights. That's his number 1 priority. Whereas MVP likes to have a fun, flashy fight. And it's crazy because MVP made him a wrestler because he was dominating him on the feet. And yeah, Garry sub plus 1,000 nearly hits. And then Jiri sub never even came close to hitting. But yeah, that was the bets and prediction. Sorry, the bets just for this card. Let's get into the predictions fight by fight, starting with the first fight of Vinicius Oliveira versus Ricky Simon. And man, guys, I picked Ricky Simon with a medium confidence here, and I'm a bit upset because I still think he had all the chops to win this. He just didn't go to the wrestling. He didn't. He tried a few times, and he got Oliveira down a few times. but he let Oliveira get back up to the feet. Oliveira was by far the more diverse striker and just had a, different looks that Simon couldn't handle. Simon is a pure boxer, not a striker at heart. And he just kind of got pieced up on the feet, and Oliveira won a fairly clean decision. Hurt himself in the second round by kicking the leg of Simon and Simon checking it. But other than that, the fight was never really close to finishing. Oliveira never really looked in danger, and Simon kind of never looked like he came out first gear. It was just, I think Simon's a bit in a rough. I don't know what's happening with him. That's 3 fights in a row now, and we'll see what happens, because it's a shame. He's gone from main eventing against Jourdain Song to going to the first fight of the prelims and losing it. So we'll see what happens, but Oliveira should get a nice push by the UFC because he does have that flashy KO power, and he does have a nice fighting style to watch for the casual UFC enjoyer. Now, we had Tsuruya versus Carlos Hernandez, and we needed Tsuruya in a few things. I needed him to get that one takedown in round 1, and he got it straight away, which was beautiful to see. And he does have good wrestling, and he does have good jiu-jitsu, but man, he's very, very, very reliant on just wrestling and jiu-jitsu. He has no striking. He didn't try it out on the feet, and when he did, he threw nothing. It was just kind of like, it was a stalemate, really, when on the feet. Even by Hernandez. Hernandez didn't do much on the feet either, and I was surprised by that. But I think he was just scared about letting loose because of what happened in his last fight against Tyra. But he shouldn't have been scared because this man Ray can't strike like Tyra. Yeah, he won a decision. It got real hairy at the end. Not real hairy, but it got a bit, close for probably Tsuruya's liking, because he gassed and he couldn't really do much against Hernandez once he gassed, because he is a one-way fighter, I guess you could say. So yeah, Ray gets a decision, banked on him getting a first round takedown, and he did. So I guess we can't complain too much. Ooh, do I even talk about this fight? No, I'm not even giving the time of day, okay? Buday won a fat decision. That's it. Sorry about that. Alright. Gillian Robertson defeats Michelle Waterson Gomez by dominating the fight, by being the bigger fighter, being the better wrestler, being the better person at jiu-jitsu. And I felt bad for Michelle, because she just couldn't get on the feet and couldn't do anything that she wanted to do against Gillian. I thought her coaches were crazy by saying, you need to wrestle her in the 3rd round. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Gillian's a way better grappler, and she would have probably reversed her even if she got taken down. So, I mean, yeah, silly game plan from Waterson. Gillian probably should have finished that fight multiple times, but Waterson's a vet and showed that she still has, I don't know, still has defense in certain occasions. She was kind of getting elbowed to hell, but Gillian did her job, got the nice victory, and won very easily, very, very cleanly. I think she was one of the more dominating victors of the card. There was a few dominating victors. You think of Pyfer, you think of Pereira, you think of obviously Talbott. So yeah, she joins that list of fighters that had a very good UFC 303, and it would have been a shame that she didn't get the submission or the KO, because we kind of needed that in a few parlays, but it's all good. Talbott, I mean, there's not much to talk about this fight. Wins the fight in like 20 something seconds by a straight, just floors Ghemmouri. Ghemmouri just kind of looked off in the walkouts as well. I don't know, you kind of just knew he was going to get knocked out. It was a bit weird. I was banking on him going into rounds 2 and 3, because like I said, he's never finished in round 1 and he's a slow starter, but he just landed flush onto Ghemmouri, and then Ghemmouri didn't react, and Talbot just finished him on the floor shortly after. So yeah, props to Talbot. Easy victory for him. Hopefully he comes back in here soon, because 20 seconds, what do we get out of 20 seconds? Nothing. So yeah, I think they're going to probably plop him onto I don't know, maybe to the Sphere fight. I don't know, maybe they try and make that an absolute spectacle and put him in there, because he literally took no damage. I mean, he did nothing. So yeah, clean victory for Talbot, easy winnings. All right. Everyone's just getting upset about the barking. They think this man is shenanigans. Oh, you gotta KO over Weston Wilson. That's not good. It is good. It is, because he showed he has very technical skills and very technical boxing. I said that in the breakdown. I also said that Jourdain doesn't have the best striking defense and is a bit chinny. And what happens? Silva knocks him down twice and then finishes him. Like, he just destroyed him, really, in terms of when it got close. Yeah, Jourdain came out there and was landing the pitter-patter, cleaner shots. But Silva, he took his time, found his shots, picked his shots, and won by a beautiful clinch uppercut that just floored Jourdain. I mean, I was very happy with this one. Underdog pick, going against the crowd movement, because, I felt like as the week was moving, towards the fight and getting closer and closer, more people were picking Jourdain. More people were saying he's kind of a lock because Silva only skill set is being like a counter boxer, and I was like, no, he can win in these exchanges and has beautiful combinations, and floored him with that left hook and then floored him with the uppercut. So beautiful performance by Silva. Jourdain, like I said, wishy-washy UFC career. It's been written in the stars in terms of his history. He can't get things moving in a forward trajectory throughout his whole tenure. He wins a few, loses a few, wins a few, loses a few, and he's definitely just the middle of the park fighter. And Silva probably gets a bit higher of an opportunity and showed that he belongs in this division. He stopped the takedowns coming from Jourdain, even though Jourdain's not the best wrestler. He stopped them, and he showed a well-rounded skill set and shows a lot of power for this division, especially. So yeah, good for Silva, and a beautiful prediction on my part. Guys, I gotta congratulate myself, okay? No one else is going to. I gotta. Sorry. Bit of a snoozer of a fight. Fili gets the win against Swanson. I mean, people said this. Dana gave this as fight of the night, and I think he's a bit crazy, because this was not fight of the night. This was a sloppy affair. And I think Fili, everyone was saying, like, not everyone, but people complaining that Swanson won that fight. No, please, rewatch it. Fili won that clear as day, 2-1, because yes, Swanson was, pushing him up against the cage and trying to land bombs in him, but Fili was just touching him every single time, and landing clean. And I don't know what's, like, 40-year-old Swanson with the chin, he took flush shots by Fili, like, he took several as well. So yeah, Fili deserved the win by far. Swanson came on in the third round and showed that he still has a lot of fight in him, but Fili was the better fighter and had the more rounded skill set. Showed some wrestling chops as well. Yeah, I don't know. People saying that was fight of the night, that was a bit boring to me. I think Macy Chiasson versus Bueno Silva was a funner fight, and I was absolutely I wasn't commending that fight prior to it. So yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah, just a bit disappointed. My man, Joe Pyfer gets a knockout in the first round, the first couple of minutes, just cleans up Barriol, and he looked huge in that fight, huge. He looked a weight class above Barriol, and Barriol's normally a big fighter himself. I mean, happy as days, because I banked a lot on this man. I said he was my lock of the card. I said that even though I picked Hermanson in their last fight, this man has a lot of skills, and Barriol has real no threats to him, and he's scared of the power, and you could see that. Barriol was trying to do that pitter-patter fight that he did against Curtis because he's scared of power, I'm telling you. And if he fights another fighter that has power, I would probably go with the knockout prop again, unless it's someone that gasses. And yeah, Pyfer just clean, looked huge. Gets the first round KO, not much else to say about it. Good victory for him, and gets right back onto the hype train, because not many people KO Barriol. I remember Cheaty did, and then everyone hopped on the Cheaty bandwagon, but you could see in Cheaty's past fights that he just didn't have all the skill sets available. He just had a lot of power, whereas Pyfer, I think, has a lot more to it, and I think he has the wrestling and jiu-jitsu to carry him far in this division, so good for Pyfer. I mean, another bit of a snoozer of a fight. I said this fight would be fun in my breakdown. I was kind of wrong. I mean, I was right in terms of both fighters have bad defense. More so Ian Garry. He has some shocking striking defense. And props to him. He has a chin on him, We thought he had a bad chin because he got dropped by Kenan Song a couple fights ago. But he took the flush shots of MVP and used his wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I mean, seriously, can we talk about the first round submission attempts by Garry? How the hell did he not get that submission rear naked choke? It's just insane to me how you can get your arms wrapped right around a person's neck and your hand is like right there just to tuck in, and he somehow like succumbed to MVP reaching back there. Like, that's I don't know. I don't understand it. But yeah, MVP, way better striker of the two. But I think he's just not going to make it in this division because of that wrestling. If you're getting out-wrestled and out-grappled by Garry, you're obviously going to get, you know, out-wrestled and out-grappled by better and more competent wrestlers and grapplers. It's as simple as that. But yeah, Garry showed off that he's a smart fighter. Will he be a champion? No. Rakhmonov would absolutely destroy this man. JDM would probably destroy this man. Leon would probably destroy this man. Bilal would run through this man, I think. So yeah, there's a few. I think Colby would have beaten him as well, to be honest. So yeah, there's a few fighters that I think would beat him. MVP, like I said, gets destroyed by any grappler. So yeah, good victory for Garry, but his stock kind of diminishes, and MVP's gets diminished as well. So it was kind of lose-lose for the MMA community in that sense. But yeah, Ian gets a decision victory. Now, I gotta apologize. I was bagging this fight. I was down in this fight. I didn't want this fight to happen. I was like, why is this happening in the pay-per-view main event? Oh, main card, sorry. But Bueno Silva versus Chiasson. Fun fight for when it lasted. The first round was just a lot of back and forth, and you really couldn't tell me who won that round because Chiasson had her moments, Silva had her moments, but you can't tell me that Silva didn't look like she was starting to fade in the second round after Chiasson landed that elbow, because I swear she did. She was looking a bit tired, and Chiasson was looking fresh as, so I still think Chiasson would have won that fight. I picked Chiasson. I picked her when she was a dog, okay? So, you know, even though the market moved before fight night, I picked Chiasson while she was a dog, so I'm going to count that as another dog pick in my book because, yeah, a lot of the community was on Bueno Silva, and yeah, I said that Chiasson would be the bigger fighter, would have success in the clinch. She did have success in the clinch, even though Bueno Silva had her own success as well. And I also said that Chiasson could have success in the wrestling because she's going to be that bigger fighter. And look back at that Montana De La Rosa fighter that, you know, she got kind of dominated a bit in a few rounds in the wrestling herself. So I said it was open. Chiasson lands a beautiful elbow, splits Bueno Silva's eye rail right open. Was it a fair stoppage? You know, I think so. I mean, I've seen a lot of fights where something like that has been stopped. The only fight that I've seen where a cut has not been stopped was the RoboCop fight, which is a bit crazy because you could like see like his arteries, like it was a bit disgusting. but yeah, I think it was a fair stoppage. I mean, it was like you could fit a finger in that cut, and it was a bit disgusting. So yeah, Chiasson gets the second round finish. I said fight doesn't go decision was probably a good bet as well. Got that. I wish I put that in my straights, but you know, I was just a bit hesitant because women's MMA tends to go over as well. But yeah, picked Chiasson. Picked it by finish as well, and we got that. So beautiful pick, and you know, a good fight as well, a decent fight. Snoozer, boring. Roman Dolidze beats Anthony Smith by being younger, I think, by having less CTE, I think. I mean, sucked. I don't think anyone can look at that and be like, Dolidze is good. No, he's not good. Just Smith is like 100, and you know, look what happened in the third round. Smith, even though he was gassed as well, clearly beat Dolidze in the third round, and you know, I think skill for skill had the better skills than Dolidze. He just looked tired and looked. I don't know what that second round was about because I don't know if he was hurt. He didn't look like he was hurt. Even the commentators were saying it looked like he slipped, but you know, I don't know. Dolidze gets the decision victory. We won our fight starts round 3. It wasn't really close to finishing either, so that was beautiful. And yeah, I mean, no one's stock should really rise in this one, and both stocks should sort of be lowered at the same time because, you know, people thought that Anthony Smith was old and frail, and he is, and showed it. And, you know, people thought Dolidze was a powerhouse and has all this skill. Come on. Getting to a hairy decision with Anthony Smith that looked gassed after the first round is not something that you want to be proud of. So yeah, even short notice or not, I mean, Dolidze won it by decision, and that was it. That's that. I'm not going to go any further on that one. Now, Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega? No. Diego Lopes versus Dan Ige. I mean, I'm sure the UFC had an idea of this before the fight card started, but typical UFC just likes to keep us on our toes. Likes to screw our parlays up. I mean, I would have loved to put another bet in. I probably would have put Gillian Robertson in my parlay, my safety parlay, if this fight got scrapped, because I wouldn't have put fight doesn't go decision on this fight. no way, because I think Dan Ige has a lot of durability. And that's what he showed. Diego Lopes was landing the more volume and the harder shots in rounds 1 and 2. I probably think he would have starched Ortega because the shots he was landing on Ige were prominent and they were hard. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't the funnest fight, I don't think. Dan Ige definitely put it on Lopes in the 3rd round, but I think Lopes had a rough going as well. Had to cut his weight all the way down to 145, then it went to 155. Then it went to changing opponents. Then Ige comes in at like 165. I mean, yeah, I know. And then, yeah, Lopes was close to submitting him as well. I said take Lopes by submission at like plus 500. Close, but didn't really get there. And, you know, it was okay a fight. It was a bit lackluster. I think the Ortega fight would have been a much better showing for both fighters. But, you know, both get their chops. Both deserve to be praised because they saved this card. I mean, there's 2 people that saved this card, or 3 people that... No, 4 people. Okay, 4 people. 2 fights, 4 people. I don't think the Dolidze and Smith saved this card because that was just a snoozer. It probably was better without that fight, to be honest. But yeah, Lopes did more in the first 2 rounds, won it by decision very clearly. But yeah, fun fight, sort of. Not really. And then, guys, I picked Jiri. I picked it on the basis that I just had a feeling about it, to be honest, and that he was winning the first rounds of the first fight. And I got slammed by that by a guy in the comments. And look, you can slam me all you want, but that's how you analyze fights, yeah? You don't analyze fights of just results, because that's, I could just go onto Tapology or Sherdog and be like, oh yeah, he won by KO, he won by submission, he's gonna win by this now. No, that's not how fighting works, and I promise you that's not how fighting works, because I would have a way worse percentage predictions if I just bet it on results. You got to look at how fights eventuated and what happens in fights. And yeah, that all got put out the window because Pereira looked career best as well. Like he just, man, this man has an aura about him, and he just was beating. He didn't let Jiri get into the fight. He beat him to every single punch, hurt him, I think, twice before it. You know, he got that left hook that set him down at the end of the first round, but I also think he stunned him with a jab in the middle of the first round that like really halted Jiri from doing anything. And yeah, he just saved the card again. This man has saved UFC 300, he's saved UFC 303, and he saved it by having exciting fights at the end of the card and putting it on his opponents and showing that he is seriously a phenom. If he goes to heavyweight and captures that strap, I'm gonna be amazed, because I think he could catch Aspinall before Aspinall catches him. I seriously think he could. Now, the wrestling and the grappling is still unknown. We really do not know. But the striking is there. He has power, he has precision, he has speed. That switch kick that he hit on Prochazka to knock him out was insane. You don't see many lead front kicks that catch the opponents and actually knock them out, because it's very hard to generate power with it, and he did it beautifully. I mean, the only one I can think of is Nemanja Nunes catching Weili Zhang back in the day with that head kick, if you remember that. So yeah, Alex saves the card, beautiful KO, and saves my multis, my parlays, my safety parlays. We got both of the safety parlays because we needed this fight not to go the distance. It ends in round 2. It was an easy hedge because all I had to do was just put a bit of money on fight to go the distance, because we were already safe on both safety parlays, and yeah, I guaranteed myself profit, and we had a beautiful card. That wraps up UFC 303. Overall, I'm gonna give the card like I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Honestly, it wasn't the best. It was okay. I mean, we've got the break next week, and then we've got another lackluster card. I think we've only got like 9 fights in that card, which is disgusting. Hopefully they just put something on it, because you can't have 9 fights. That's unfair for the crowd as well. But yeah, other than that, I'm just kind of waffling now because I'm exhausted. Been a long day of sports, and I think I'll just wrap up the video here. I hope you enjoyed. Killed the bets, killed the predictions. That's 2 weeks in a row now. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment. I really appreciate it, because you know, I want to build this channel up. I want to be one of the best cappers on this platform, because I really do think I put a lot of effort, and I study these fights so you don't have to. Other than that, enjoy your week, enjoy your night, take care, have some rest, and I'll catch you next week. Ciao.